It must have been around 4 or 5 years ago. We decided to go caving in Lanzarote. There's also lava tubes caving around there, which is an underground sort of long, smooth, long, black sort of cave.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're very cool. So we had a map which we printed off the internet, which just had GPS coordinates of where different entrances into the caves were. Using our Google Maps, we typed in the GPS coordinates of where that was and traversed across the middle of nowhere effectively, trying to find the entrance to these caves. Sometimes they're really small holes, like a letterbox really, sort of 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters, that big. A human can go into it, and once you're in, it opens up a little bit and you start crawling through. And there's this one cave we've been walking through for about, well, actually at the beginning of this first cave, we didn't have helmets and Tom hit his head.
Well, I don't know if we should admit that online.
Yeah, we didn't have any helmets on. Probably should have had helmets on. Tom hit his head, and it was quite a bad hit, and that there's some blood dripping down his forehead.
It was
dripping down here. And Tom sort of fell to his knees and felt a little bit dizzy. And I initially started laughing, and then checked that he is okay.
Yeah, for reference, we were well deep into this cave by this point. Well, this wasn't at the start. We've been in the cave for like 2 hours, and for anybody who's like, have you done like potholing or caving and stuff like that, time moves really slowly. So you feel like you've been in there for 10 hours. You know, there's no breeze, the stillness, the dryness.
It's amazing.
We
epic.
We love
So
going underground.
cool.
It's cool. Wear a helmet when you do it, by the way. That's a lesson you learn hard way sometimes.
Especially in small caves.
We've been in this cave for hours, and we'd already got lost in the cave. And you always think, oh, the way a cave must work is if you
exit.
Yeah. And if you struggle, you just go back the way you came. But it all starts to look quite similar when you're that deep underground, and particularly lava tubes. They're not. You can't like navigate by stalagmites and stalactites and stuff.
Sure.
It's all quite uniform.
So we had read online. We weren't like going completely blind into this deep cave. We had an overview from a Caves of Lanzarote website, which tells you the different caves, where they are, and once you find it, it tells you what it's like inside. So how long it is, whether it sort of breaks off, and when it does break off, where you're meant to go. So we were trying to follow this guide, knowing that if it did break off, it would never go more than 100 meters, dead end, then come back and then try it a different way. So we'd be going after Tom hit his head for maybe 2.5, 3 hours. Got some really tight squeezes where you have to really squeeze your body through, line your stomach, pull yourself through, drag yourself through. And as it's a volcanic cave, it can be really quite dusty and horrible there as well. So you're pulling yourself through on your stomach, breathing in, to take yourself through. I think we've got some amazing videos of this stuff. And
I will say, by the way, if you're going in a cave where you don't know,
if you can fit
like the route, or if you'd be able to fit through some of the cracks, if you go with someone who's bigger than you, you know, say someone who's about 6'2" and you're about 5'10" with narrow shoulders, if they go first and they can fit through, no stress.
So I was always the one that went
through
first.
Yeah.
And I went through first, and then Tom's follows on behind. And we carried on going for maybe another half an hour, 45 minutes after this, to where we meant to get to the ending point, according to this blog post on this Caves of Lanzarote website, which is middle of a cliff face, over the sea, and you come out in the middle of the cliff. So that's the top of the cliff, that's the sea, and you come out in the middle, and you can sort of look up and see the stars and the lip of the cliff, or you can look down and see the ocean. And we had a rope with us, and on this blog post it said you can either free climb up out to the side of it, or you can try and abseil down to the sea and then try and get a footpath back around all the way and back to where you started from.
So the tide had come in, so lowering down wasn't really an ideal option, and it said, because you can free climb out, it was like, oh yeah, you've just gone through this insanely difficult technical cave, you can free climb out, as in like, this must be scrambling, it must be a fancy way of saying scrambling. I don't know if Alex Honnold would fancy free climbing the wet, soaked, technical rock. Like,
it's only maybe like 4 or 5 meters to get up over this lip edge, but there was nowhere from either side that we can access onto the wall in the first place, and it's too high to reach up over and to pull yourself up.
And it was a good like 60 feet down to the rocks, so there was, you know, you couldn't just...
So we got there, and there was one rusty bolt attached to the wall.
Oh, the rusty bolt. That bolt was so rusty. James thought this was funny. He was basically laughing like he's laughing.
Okay, so our options are, we've gone here for 3 hours. We can either try and go all the way back to where we came, which would be uphill, because even to get to this point, it was a slight downhill through the cave. Or we can try and use our rope off this rusty bolt, try and belay one of us down.
Belay down into the sea, because there's no beach at the moment.
And then leave a quick draw or something there, and then just pull the rope through it.
Yeah.
And then once we get to the bottom, try and work our way up to a footpath. So we couldn't climb out. We realised that was pretty suicide mission if we tried to free climb out over this.
Yeah,
so we went for the abseil down route.
Now what happened with the abseil was
for some reason Tom was the first one.
You had to down climb a bit, and then there was an underhang like this where you're going to swing underneath it.
And then carry on.
As I was down climbing, this was the point where James told me, "Oh, this is only our spare rope. This isn't the one we actually use. This is the one that we'd made a rope swing once, and someone had fallen off a bridge into the sea and snapped the rope. So this was just a spare bit of rope.
That was the other half of the rope, wasn't it?
So this was the other half of a rope that had been fallen on and broken. James told me this as I was lowering myself off an overhang down to the sea, which it wasn't like deep sea, it would be sea onto rocks, so it was
And I was like,
this
isn't our normal rope, is it? This is our like backup rope that we don't actually use for climbing. This is just for like safety periods.
Oh, this is our leftover rope. So I said, you have got to be kidding me.
So Tom decided to abort mission.
So I decided we're not doing this, we're going to go the long way, all the way back through the cave, which is just heartbreaking, and also we didn't have James to be able to fit the other way through the
really narrow bit.
So maybe
So we did. So I sort of semi-helped pull
So he
up.
semi-helped to pull me up.
This is middle of the night as well, so pitch black stars, and managed to have him back onto this edge. We had a bit of a breather.
There was a bit just before that where I was
realised
trying to
we ran
climb
out
back
of
up.
water?
I slipped. I slipped, fell under the overhang, and for that moment where you're not feeling the weight of the rope, now I knew about the fact that this was a fallen on rope. There was a rusty bolt, the rock was slippy, and I just thought, I'm such an idiot. And just as I was thinking, oh my god, I'm the most stupid person on planet Earth, that's when the weight of the rope did hold me. I swang, hit underneath the rock, and then came back out. And I was basically climbing up while James was pulling me up, basically telling him off, like, you're a complete idiot for bringing this. Anyway,
wrong half of the rope.
We had a little sort of domestic.
Finished off the water, and then we realised we had no water left for the turned leg. And we were like, we've got to probably get back.
It was just rubbish.
It went right.
Most of
We
that
massively underestimated from what it said on the website, the depth, the ending, everything.
Yeah, you go.
And we were just so angry at that person who wrote that description. Like that.
Yeah, we should have been. We should have been the trolls of this Lanzarote cave blog post, because he
probably said like an hour and a half, 2 hour tunnel cave. Come out the other end, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you just free climb this thing that Alex Honnold couldn't climb in his dreams. It's going to be fine. There's some good anchors. There's one rusty bolt.
So 3 hours in, after getting lost a few times, and lots of sort of 5 finger points where you come in, or 3 or 4, and you're like, okay, one of these is going to work. All the rest is dead ends. You spend 100 meters going down one with a head torch. Tom goes down another one. Both dead ends. We come back like, how was yours? Mine dead end. Dead end too. Okay, let's try the other one. It's always the last one you find, then you finally get the right one. And this happens so many times. That's why it takes so long.
Yeah.
And eventually we managed to make our way back out to the entrance. It's probably the middle of the night at this point.
Yeah, we went and slept on the beach exhausted.
Yeah.
That was
amazing.
Falling on that rope with the new knowledge I had that this was a fallen on before rope attached to a rusty bolt with the sea cliffs below. That was one of the worst things that ever happened to me.
But yeah, one of the best.